All right. Here we are, the finale, episode 24 of the High Octane Dads podcast. Not the finale, but the finale for 2024.
Yes.
Been saying we were going to do it, and then life.
We've been busy.
I know it kicked me between the legs. I don't know about you guys, but it's been crazy. New jobs. Chris, you got a new job and kind of getting settled in. I'm on week 3 of a new job. Mikey's been cranking out some YouTube content and staying busy. We got him back with us, which is awesome. So yeah, we're going to chat a little bit tonight and kind of cap off 2024. And I think we'll probably start releasing episodes again. My guess will be February-ish, so we can get a little ahead on the recording. Chris, what you think?
Yeah, probably. We may do a few other little things that we might post out on Facebook.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, we'll stay active in the group and all, just as far as new episodes coming out, be a little bit.
Yeah, I think we're going to try to get a little bit ahead, like you said.
Yeah.
That's what I'm trying to do right now, too. I'm like 2 weeks out from my last video post.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's hard if you don't get some in the
tank,
kind of in the tank, ready to go, for sure.
Had some, but then Thanksgiving came around, and then I used it all up already.
Yeah.
Yeah, we did that. We got ahead early on, but that was like, that means we can take this week off. No, that did not mean that.
And then we would do that a couple weeks in a row, and then we were started that whole trim. We were right there. Yeah.
Well, and initially too, though, we were releasing episodes every 2 weeks.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And then we said, well, I think we can do weekly. And that's when it really, we kind of burned through that backlog pretty quick. So,
yeah.
But Mikey, I saw the other day, you had a chance to go out and check out a pretty cool Yamaha.
Oh yeah, the Maxim with
cool.
with the fairing on it.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm the only person that likes it, I think.
Okay.
Everybody's like, why do you like that thing so much? I'm telling you, dude, that thing's sweet. Looks like it's going fast still.
What else is it other than the looks, though? What kind of motors it got on it? Tell me a little bit about it.
And nothing special. It's a Yamaha Maxim 750. So it's an inline 4-cylinder, dual overhead cam, air-cooled. It's shaft drive, which is a little bit different, than most motorcycles. Back then everything had a chain on it for the most part.
Mm-hmm.
But other than that, I mean, it's not really anything special. I think it's just a really cool looking bike, and it's a smooth riding bike too. And it handles good. It's real light when you're riding down the road, even going real slow.
That's the only way we know how to go around here.
Yeah. I mean, it's always nice when it's real smooth, even when you're going fast or when you're going slow.
And that's how we become dads.
How fast you reckon that green mini bike's going to go?
Oh, not but so fast, because right now it's got the original 2.5 or 3-cylinder Tecumseh on it. I wanted to see if it would run, and I got it running last night. It actually runs pretty decent, but the carburetor was garbage. And I was digging around the garage. I'm trying to figure out. I was like, wait a second, I've got a brand new China Mikuni in the box, but it's a little big, and so it had an air leak. So I actually got on Amazon and ordered a different one on the slab. It's supposed to be here tomorrow, and I'll put it on it. But it seems to run well, and the clutch works on it. So I'm I might just get it running and try to ride it a little bit and see how it does. But I have a warmed over 196 Predator, and then I just bought another 224 Predator, and I was like, I don't know, that might be a little much for that little bike. But then I thought about it, so I can keep it vintage. I've got a flathead Briggs over here in a tote, so I could also do that.
Was the plan to set that one up for the kids, right?
Yeah, that's kind of why I'm leaning towards leaving the Tecumseh on it, though. Like I said, it's only 2.5 or 3 horsepower, but that should be plenty for them.
Yeah, I would think so.
Yeah, I went ahead and bought this other motor, and I was like, I buy it, and then I'm like, no, I'm not gonna put that on. It's way too big. I said, I have this other one. I was like, but then it's got stiffer valve springs and everything in it, and no governor. And so I was like, I could put that in it, but then kind of detune it a little bit if the stock motor won't run or if there's something major wrong with it. But I mean, it ran a little bit. It seemed smooth. It's not smoking. So I'm gonna just get a good carburetor on it and see what happens.
Nice.
Yeah.
Well, Mikey, what's next for the channel, man? I know you did the Will It Run on the one bike. Well, you got something lined up?
So if you look right behind me right now, that's a Honda. So it's a 71, I think, Honda CB500. And Chris, you might find this interesting. One of the local guys that owns 3 of the local Sam's hot dog stands, which is a staple here in Augusta County, I feel like.
Yeah.
It's actually his bike. And he just
Okay.
he just bought the one that's in Waynesboro. But he inherited the bike from his grandpa, and he decided that, I don't know if there was something wrong with the previous motor. These motors were pretty reliable in these bikes, but he swapped a CB550 motor into it from a later model bike. And so I did a video on getting it, getting power to everything, doing like an electrical video, getting power to everything, make sure it's got spark. And then depending on how he wants to go with it, I might continue to work on it and see if we can get it running. There's a fair amount of work that's got to be done to this thing. And I'm not charging him very much to work on it hourly because I am making content with it, but I don't know how much he wants to pay somebody to do it.
Yeah.
But he also hit me up today and asked me if I'd put a wheel bearing in his BRZ. So who knows?
Yeah.
But we got that. I did another video last weekend. You're not going to be able to see it, but I ran the airline up one of the exterior walls and then across the rafters and then over back right about there. I have a air hose reel mounted on the ceiling. It's not mounted up there. It's just hanging up there right now. I got to actually mount it, but I ran the airline to that so that I kind of got like a central location for the air instead of dragging cords everywhere.
Yeah, that's what I did in my garage. I've got one hung I pulled it on the side wall, like where it's in the middle of the garage, so it's 12 feet out. But then it's a 50-foot hose, so I can reach anywhere in the garage and then, pull it out to my fence out in front of my garage.
Oh, hell yeah.
So, but now I'm at a point, the hose is starting to dry rot, so I've got to replace the end on it because it's starting to leak air pretty bad.
So this is definitely something for the podcast too. So I was talking to my wife the other day, and we waited till our kids got 16, 17 before we're like, all right, do the social media thing. My daughter had Snapchat a little before that, but like
that's the dangerous one.
I know, and I mean, but we, my wife had the parental stuff, whatever, but
right,
but like, just social media in general just does so much to the mental health of these kids and their development, and it gives these kids not fully anonymous, but a way to just be awful to each other.
Yeah,
and hide behind a keyboard. And I mean, we see how much adults do that shit. You can imagine what teenagers would do.
Yeah, so it's awful.
We were very careful about it. We finally, my daughter's got Instagram, and I told my wife, I was like, why didn't we let her get Facebook? I mean, at that point, she's got Instagram. It's not that different. She may as well have Facebook. She goes, no, I told her she could. She doesn't want to. Apparently, Facebook is only for old people. The current generation of teenagers does not care about Facebook. Apparently, don't want it. Don't want to be on it. Like, pass it, which is crazy to me. Like, not don't get me wrong. I don't like Facebook a ton. I'd rather not be on it, but there are good things that come from it. Obviously, Mullet Militia, and then our group and the Untitled Car Project guys group, like all that stuff is great for those uses. But for the most part, it just ends up being large amounts of wasted time.
Yeah. Oh yeah, absolutely.
But it was just funny to me that the kids are like, that's out. We don't want Facebook.
Yeah. I mean, I know TikTok's a big thing, and I have it, but we all send each other shit, but I typically do not get on TikTok just to scroll. I will get on there and kind of scroll through what certain people that send me shit. There's some that I haven't opened because it's like 100 plus that I haven't opened. And at that point, I'm not going to wade through them.
I just pick the last like 4 and watch those, laugh, react to them, and move on.
Yeah.
And I've gotten to where the times in between using them, like it'll offload the app because I'll have not been on it for so long, and then I'll get back on it. And usually when I start it back up, I make a few shorts, I'll do some funny shit, and then I move, but then I'm back to not using it.
Yeah.
Hey, did I come back?
Yeah, what are you doing? What are you doing, Meatloaf?
So I have officially abandoned the garage, and I'm down at the house now.
The video quality is much better. And
Yeah,
the
you can get a
sound
range
quality is better.
extender. That'll help.
Well,
Ask this guy.
this high octane dad's gonna be working in the house tonight.
Well, that angle was disconcerting for a moment. Chris might be used to that one, but I'm not.
Yeah.
I sent my brother-in-law a Snapchat one day like that, and I was like, I thought you might be missing this view. And dude, he got some kind of heated over that shit. I was like, look,
That's
man,
the same thing that I
didn't
do to
know-
my.
I didn't know you were so insecure about your sexuality, brothers. 2024,
Yeah.
almost 2025. It's okay. We ain't gonna judge.
That's the thing that I do that to my brother-in-law as well. And he is the same way.
Well,
It's great.
does your brother-in-law want to be you really bad?
Probably. You know my brother-in-law.
Who is it?
Daniel Clark.
Did he wear
What year did you
glasses?
Yeah. What year did you graduate?
They don't matter. That's not important. We ain't got.
What time did you? What year what year were you supposed to get out of school?
What year did you get out?
06.
Yeah. No, that would be yeah. Yeah, I was supposed to graduate in 06. Or is it right?
How old are you?
35.
Oh, I'm 2 years older than you.
All right, so you're 2 years older than me. Okay, 2 years ahead.
Yeah.
So then I was supposed to graduate in
You did graduate in 07.
no.
Still school of hard knocks.
Yeah. So well, hang on. But more importantly, what I was about to say.
I don't even remember where we were going with this.
Before I got disconnected here. Well, we was talking about gifts a little bit. We was talking about buying like stuff that we had, and what I wanted to ask was, this time of year, everybody's always talking about, what they're buying for their kids and this, that, and the third, whatever, which is well and good. But do y'all ever take the Christmas time as an opportunity to be like, hey, my beautiful, loving wife or my dad or anybody, like, hey, I need this for my project. Can you help a brother out?
So, go ahead, Chris.
Not really, because I kind of feel guilty getting somebody to buy me stuff like that for a hobby. Usually it's very expensive and it's got to be a specific thing. And I don't want to deal with the hassle if there is an issue. But I get a lot of like memorabilia, car stuff, shirts, hats, whatever, models, all sorts of things. And so that's a good supplement. They all kind of know I like surprises. So I don't necessarily want gifts, but I like surprises. If there's going to be a gift, I'd rather not know what it is ahead of time. So they usually do pretty well with that. But I don't particularly ask for parts. There's been a couple times where things have been bought for me or certain tools, and that's all right, but it's nothing I ask for.
Yeah, my wife and I mean, we have a system, right? Every year we do a little notepad thing in Google and we send each other like, 5 or 6 things. Like, here's the kind of stuff, that maybe I would want or whatever. She does the same for me. And we pick some stuff out of there because most of the focus is on the kids. But I'm like you, Chris, like even doing that, like then I know what it's going to be. It's like, I'm grown and I could have just went and bought those things. Like, I'd rather you think about the kind of stuff I like, use the list as like a idea.
Yeah.
And then surprise me with something thoughtful, because I try to do that too. Like, if my wife says, hey, I want this kind of necklace or something, right? Like, I'm going to think, okay, what can go with that maybe puts some thought into it? Or I just listen throughout the year, like something she says she might want. I try to put some thought into it. And I'd rather be surprised with a $10 thing that I didn't know you remembered me saying I wanted than a $400 thing that I had to say, hey, I want this thing. And then you went and got it. Like, I could have just bought that. And she does really good. Now last year, she did get me $300 in Motion Raceworks gift cards.
That's excellent.
Which was, so she had sold a house right before Christmas. She was like, I just wanted to do something for you. So that's how I got my throttle bod.
Awesome.
I had to put a little bit with it, but so yeah, that's that was pretty good. But what about you, Mikey? You got some parts on the list?
We probably should just skip this topic and go to the next one at this point. My wife bought me a 450 dirt bike, not last Christmas, but the Christmas before that. So,
all right.
Heck yeah.
But I do want to point out you guys got older kids, so y'all's Christmases probably cost a lot more.
Yeah. The strawberry shortcake dolls and the Hot Wheels cars and Thomas the Tank Engine toys ain't cutting it anymore. It's iPads and
Yup.
Xboxes, and yeah, the cost went up.
Hey, well, speaking of which, since I'm down in the house now, I can show y'all while we're talking about it. So my oldest,
The dirt bikes in the kitchen.
yeah,
It probably.
that's the Stasic 16 e-drive. So it's like it's an electric balance bike.
Okay.
And they have some race series that the kids can go and race, like for the indoor, like
That's
arena
cool.
cross style races and stuff. And then some of the GNCCs also do like some Stasic races for the kids and stuff. So we're gonna try, because when he gets so the oldest will get this one, and then the youngest, he's getting his brother's old 12-inch, because now he's big enough to ride it, but Daddy's going to take it. I'm going to clean it up. Got some new graphics for it, and I got a new handlebar kit, which is actually like right underneath my phone right now. That'll make life a whole lot easier for him to start riding it. So the plan is to hopefully take them and do some racing this year.
That'd be sweet.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah.
But what I was going to say is actually my wife, we was talking about the Will It Run and the future projects. Part of the getting that XS 650 running, the idea was to be able to take it and do the Biltwell 100 race out in California this coming year.
Yeah.
But it's a later model XS 650, and they had 16-inch rear wheels on them, and on the later models, and you can basically only buy street style tires for that size rim. So
Wow.
she actually bought me a $50 18-inch earlier model XS 650 back wheel actually yesterday, and that's my Christmas present.
But yeah. I'm moving you back to the middle on my screen.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
I feel like I was looking over here.
That's the thing, man. It's like, you like Chris said, you want them to think about what's something that you really need that maybe you wouldn't have went and spent the money on because you were going to spend it on your kids, and put some thought into it, and then get something, even if it's not some crazy expensive thing. Because I've been the same way when, I want upgrades for my gaming PC or the car or whatever. Anything that I haven't already gotten is probably $400 to $500 or more.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not going to say, hey, I want somebody else to go buy this thing for me. So,
yeah.
Well, now y'all got to
I'll
remember,
say-
I'm basically a stay-at-home housewife now.
Yeah. Well, I like
I
when you
ain't
said,
much of a choice. My Feet Finder account hadn't taken off yet.
I will say I liked how you said you were talking about Daddy earlier. But to go back to the whole, the gifts and, wanting them to buy things, I'm kind of getting to the point in my life where I'm like, I have way too much stuff. Just a lot of stuff. And, yeah, I've got like the mini bikes and all, but I mean like, not just like the cars and like the mini bikes, but like a bunch of other stuff that's just everywhere. And
I've been to your
it's
house,
like,
I know.
yeah, and I need to get rid of this stuff, but like it's like random shit, and not everything I want to throw away, but I could throw away a lot of it, but I need to get rid of a lot of shit.
I think it's hereditary, because last time I was at your house, your dad was talking about how many DVD and Blu-ray players he had.
Jesus Christ. So he goes to like the thrift stores and Goodwills and stuff like that. And he just buys off the wall shit. And I'm like, what are you doing? And he doesn't use any of it. He was like, I plugged it up, it works. I'm like, great. And then he'll turn around and resell it. Whatever. I mean, I don't know if he's making money on it or not, but I couldn't tell you how many stereo receivers and like speakers and stuff he's had.
Yeah, I've got a Denon receiver and a bunch of clips, full surround sound setup, and a Bose surround sound setup in the garage that I spent so much money on back when I worked in home audio, and I still love all that stuff, right? But nowadays you buy a friggin' sound bar and a subwoofer and 2 rear speakers, and you've got a very similar experience for a third the money that a $2,000 home stereo used to cost you. But I just can't make myself throw. I'm like, maybe I'll hook them up in the garage, but these big tower speakers, I'm not gonna hook these things up in my living room again. Is there really a market where somebody's going to buy it? I mean, I guess I could probably message your dad. He'd probably want
Yeah.
to buy them.
They give you like $3 for them.
No, I gotta have at least 12.
No.
But yeah, I mean, and so I'm like you. I end up with all the stuff I've got. I mean, you look there. There's Funko Pops up there. That it's not like I like having them as much as I enjoy going out and looking and finding the one. I'm like,
Yeah.
oh man, that one's pretty cool. And
It's
then
the hunt.
it's the hunt. Yeah,
Yeah.
more
yeah.
than it is having it.
That, and I think that you see these things, like, especially like that you're using for decoration, it's little knickknacks of stuff you like, and you buy them, you're like, cool. And you buy it, but then, now they pump out so much shit, and there'll be something else that, that's kind of similar to it, and you keep buying them, and then you don't think about that they keep adding up. I mean, it's not, and then most of us now are, sucked into all this shit that's telling you to buy everything.
Mm-hmm.
And we're not really up doing other things that kind of take your energy. So here you are just accumulating bullshit. Not saying that, people many years ago days didn't accumulate garbage, because it still happens, but
Yeah, I was gonna say, go to my grandma's house one time. She accumulated.
Yeah.
Dolls and Beanie Babies exist, bro. Like there's been that has been a thing.
Oh yeah. We were talking. What were you saying a minute ago? And it reminded me of something from, I don't.
Have y'all finished your Christmas shopping?
Dude, all my stuff's wrapped under the tree, done.
Dang.
Yeah.
I have one gift for my wife that I have to go pick up, and I think I've got to get something for my grandmother. But other than that, we're like my brother-in-law, sister-in-law, and my best friend. I'm going to get him a little something. And then Chris's is on the way to him. Should arrive on Saturday, so it is not wrapped, except by FedEx. So enjoy that.
I'm used to not wrapping.
When is mine coming in the mail?
2025, because I'm broke.
Yes.
But yeah, so yeah, we just got a little bit earlier start this year. Like we started. Now I will say, we did a little experiment where we really kind of started shopping about 2 weeks before Thanksgiving, knowing that like, okay, Black Friday deals were coming along, and a bunch of places started doing early Black Friday. Like Black Friday is one day out of the year, so to call it a Black Friday, never mind. Not going down that tangent.
Yeah.
Point is, my goal was, if we find something we want, it seems like a good deal, I'm going to go ahead and buy it. If it goes on sale cheaper, I'll figure that out then.
Mm-hmm.
And what I found was, not very many things went on sale much cheaper. The stuff that did, a lot of times it wasn't so much that it went on sale. It was, oh, buy this and get a $50 gift card, which is only incentivizing you to just spend more money. So realistically, we didn't spend that much more by shopping early, and we were done so much earlier that we had we both got the stomach bug a couple weeks. That's why we didn't record a couple weeks ago, because we both felt awful. And then when we both were kind of recovering from that, nobody wanted us hanging around with them, and we didn't really want to go anywhere. So we had that whole weekend. We just like started wrapping stuff. And next thing you know, and this is the first year that my 10-year-old, he come home from school one day and was like, the Santa thing, like, I know that's bullshit, right? And we were like, yeah, but whatever. So now we could just kind of wrap it all and put it out and not really worry too much about it. But yeah, so we're done.
We didn't put shit on our tree until like at 1:00 in the morning, December 25th. Because we got a 2 and 3-year-old, so how that's going to go.
Yep, we've done that every year. And, not to get all sappy, but we were going through pictures the other day, because Chris knows my dog of 13 and a half years, we had to put her to sleep Tuesday, and that was rough. But so we were kind of going through pictures, and there was a picture from Christmas Eve, because she was always in the middle of Christmas, man. She was like, we got pictures of her with all the kids opening their gifts. She was right in the middle, like looking for her stuff. And we would usually get her a bone and a toy or something. But there was a picture of my dad at like 1:00 in the morning. You can tell he's tired as hell, but he's like putting out Christmas presents for the kids. He used to come over every Christmas Eve and help us put stuff out, because he enjoyed it so much and didn't get to do it anymore. I'm obviously grown. I was like, you can still put me something under the tree at 1:00 in the morning if you want to.
Yeah.
But yeah, so it was kind of, losing him and then our dog and so much this year. It was, but it's good. It's still good to look back on those pictures. You know what I mean?
But yeah,
absolutely. I was telling my wife before I went up to the shop to record with you guys that I seen your post the other day and it like hit me right in my feels because that's part of the reason why we don't have any pets anymore is because we had two, not to sound like sissy, but we had two like very traumatic experiences going through that very exact same thing. And I was like, I can't do it. No.
Yeah.
I can't. It's too, I get way too attached.
Both my boys, they want another dog, and they were very attached. And we've got the two cats, and I mean these cats will, they live longer than dogs for the most part, but they're also pretty unproblematic. And that's what I told my wife. I was like, in a way, I need a break. Because the minute you've got a puppy, like you're all about it for a hot minute.
You know what I mean? It becomes a lot.
It's all
and like, not to be selfish, but it's like, I was like, we've got to get through the holidays, get all that handled. And then but then like she's sending me, we found Chris, I sent you a picture of it. It's a Doberman Pit Bull Lab mix.
Oh yeah.
And she's beautiful.
Yeah.
And then my wife sent me a picture today. There's an AKC registered lab that had puppies with a female that's not registered, but they're still full-blooded labs. It's a black lab, and he's really cute. And she's like, we got to go get him. And I'm like, she's finding puppies every day. I'm like, and you'll be able to find one in a month or two. Like,
yeah, I mean,
it's a surplus of them.
At the same time, it's kind of, jumping from one to the other. It's just, you don't really have the time to, like you said, kind of rest, kind of really to grieve, and then you're just going right in. I know some people say they need the distraction, but you've got plenty of things to distract yourself.
Yeah. Yeah. And I mean, starting the new job and everything else, like I'm like, I don't want to have to stop a meeting because the puppy's still getting housebroken and I got to rush him outside not, like I said, it'll be worth it when we get one, and I'm sure we will. But to your point, Mikey, like I get it because, I even knew it was coming. And I mean, I've lost dogs in the past that, were older when I was a kid, but I mean, we got her, my kids were 3 and 4, so they always remember having her. And I got to thinking about it and I was like, it definitely didn't feel long enough, but it felt like, man, we just got, like, she's not that old. But then you think about it, I'm like, she was with us almost 14 years. I'm only 36. So, I mean, not quite a third of my life, but, most of it. And so she's been through a lot with us. And it's like, man, that was such a long time of being in that routine. If you get up, you feed her, you let her out, she comes and sits with you. I'm working. She's sleeping right here next to me all day long. And just that routine of all of it. And like now getting up and I still find myself like going to check the back door to make sure it's locked. And I'm like, nobody's been out that back door today. We weren't letting the dog out. It's weird.
Yeah. Yeah, well, it's definitely a change.
To switch gears on a happier note, since the last time I got to be on here with you guys, Trump won the election.
Yeah.
This is true.
That hadn't been the thing the last time I was on here. So, are y'all looking for, I mean, I don't know where y'all stand, but I historically would not necessarily consider myself to be a Republican, but I did have that certain sigh of relief when he.
Well, given the two options, right?
Yeah.
Like for me, it's a, I'm very much a, leave the government out of it, leave me alone, leave my family alone. Let us do as good as we can. And, we'll figure it out. I don't need you to be involved if I can help it.
Yeah.
And neither party is for that. But the truth is, given the two options, like I'm just hopeful that my IRA and my 401k will be much happier over the next 4 years than they have been.
Absolutely.
I hope my groceries won't be so expensive.
Yes. Absolutely.
So I don't know how true this is, and somebody in the comments can get mad and go fact check me or whatever, right? But I had heard somewhere that Trump had made a statement about how the prices likely would not go down significantly because, if you think about it, it's the same with the health insurance, right? You could repeal Obamacare. It wouldn't matter. The insurance companies know they can charge the premiums that they're charging. They're going to continue to charge them.
Yeah.
Once they know they can charge you $3.50 a gallon for milk, what incentive do they have to go back down on the price of that? Now, you may feel some relief in other areas so that it doesn't hurt as much. And if freight costs go down and things like that, sure, they might come down a little bit, but they could just keep charging the same because they know you got to pay it and just make larger profit margin. So Will it come down? I don't know. And I will tell you, I'm not a fan of government price control.
Yeah.
That's problematic. So what else do you do, right? And I'm not an economic policy expert, but I'll be interested to see what it does. I mean, it would be nice to see it come back down, because as a family of 5, because like my grocery bill is nuts, especially with teenagers.
Yep.
I think that's also a development since the last time I seen y'all. We got another one on the way.
What? Well,
Yeah,
congrats, dude. I did not know that.
We're going to have 3 little ones running around here, man.
Yeah. Awesome.
So
3
Christmas
is
will be that much more funner next year.
3 is an exciting number. And interesting. And
yes. Once you go past 2, it's a whole other ballgame.
But now, Chris, you can tell me, I've heard so 3 is an adjustment from 2.
Yeah.
But from 3 on, great if you had 6 or 7, but 3 to 4 is not as big of an adjustment as from 2 to 3 or from 1 to 2.
Yeah, I think it's very similar to having 4 is very similar to having just 3. But what I'm dealing with is my 2 oldest are females. Well, and one's a teenager and one's a preteen, and then there's a 6-year gap. And then the next ones are boys, and they're 2 years apart. So we've got 2 that are one's in diapers, one's is out of diapers, kind of. And then we've got a teenager and then a preteen. So we have a lot going on at one time. Right now. Yes, I'm all over the spectrum. So yes, that's how that goes.
For those of you not watching the video, Chris's face when he said that was priceless.
Yeah. So yes, it is. It's great. I mean, it's got its ups and downs. I think actually now things are turning in a better direction. We kind of had some issues there for a little bit with the oldest, and she's, I think, seemingly settling down a little bit better now. Not giving as many problems. She's then got a job. She's doing sports, and all that I think is really helping her a lot, because we kept telling her, we're like, look, the whole idle hands thing, you get into trouble and shit. And once we got her into doing something, and she's, doing much better. So she's got a really good boyfriend. He's pretty cool. He's a car guy. So he's into music. So I'm going to have him over here help me do some work a few times, help me clean up, get rid of some of this junk. But, but overall it's a good time, but it's just, you're going to have to be prepared it's a chore to go anywhere and do anything with all of them. And you're looking at least $100 bill anywhere you go to eat, which is not hard to do.
Yeah, dude, with 5, I mean, we went for Mexican last night, and my oldest, she had an essay or something to write. So she stayed home, and we still spent $70 for the 4 of us. And then I had to run and pick her up something on the way home, or get her something to go. I forget which we did, but I mean, so yeah, if you go sit down to eat somewhere, it's $100.
Okay.
With tip.
I mean, hell, you go to McDonald's and it's still $50, $60. Yeah.
Yeah.
So if you actually get meals, if you're not, or even if you pick through enough to get a drink and fries and whatever, it's still going to get expensive.
Yeah. I mean, we'll do, Dairy Queen or whatever, right? And, I get a meal for the 3 kids. And then Crystal and I, if we've gotten to where literally one of the adjustments we made through all of these price increases and how everything has been is we tell the kids we're going to eat, Dairy Queen tonight, right? We would pick them up Dairy Queen, and we'd come home and make some ground beef and,
something you guys want.
Yeah. Make something easy for us.
Right.
Because it was just, it was too much to drop $60, $70 every time, 2 nights a week even. And so, we didn't change up a whole lot the number of times maybe we went to restaurants, but she and I might not eat, or we would get a couple of just single cheeseburgers or something, 2 for $5 or something, instead of a meal. But yeah, it's been crazy. And I mean, to your point, I do hope to see some relief in those areas. Interestingly enough, I never posted. I made a video. I had to go down to Orlando for a work conference, and it's 11:30, 12 o'clock as I was rolling into Orlando and studied some food. So I swung through Wendy's. The entire ordering process at the thing was like I was talking to one of these Echo Dots. It was an automated assistant asking me what I wanted, repeating my order back to me, filling it out on the screen, and gave me my total and everything. I didn't talk to an actual person until I got to the window and paid.
Wow.
Really?
And it's like, yeah. And you know, my first thought was so many people are pushing for $17, $18 an hour for relatively unskilled labor. Some folks would argue, you know, whether it's skilled, right? Because you still have to know how to do some stuff, but it's not skilled labor like construction or welding or, you know, plumbing or whatever.
Actual skilled labor.
Right. And so, you know, you can argue over semantics if you want to, like some people will, but yeah, I mean, $17, $18 an hour, what you're going to get is it's pretty easy to build an automation to take my order and it got it all right.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know. I just thought that was interesting.
And how Walmart ended up with all the self-checkouts?
Yeah, but they're pulling them is what I heard.
Yeah,
Really?
the theft.
The theft is too high.
They're losing like I think I heard like billions of dollars.
So like I could see having the self-checkouts and be like, you know, 20 items or less or 25 or 50, and that makes sense. But then to have registers that are there, because especially pretty much most of the Walmarts now, I mean, I don't know, I don't research them, but most of them I see anymore are super centers or the grocery markets or whatever. So they're a grocery store, and I don't know. I mean, you're going to have a lot of people coming and going, and, you know, people getting a lot more than a few things.
But see, Kroger went the other way. They have a self-checkout lane now that has the full conveyor belt, like the ones the cashiers are at, that you can go to. So if you've got 100 things like we go in there and get, you can walk up and, you know, my wife's feeding the stuff down the thing and I'm scanning it, bagging it, and all doing the whole deal. And so they're almost encouraging you, if you have a lot of stuff, to still use the self-checkout. And to me, that just doesn't work. Like,
it saves them money. Well, they think in what it was, a consultant somewhere that's a bean counter. This is what they tell them that this will, you know, X, Y, Z. And on paper, it looks great, but in practice, it's not.
Well, I'll tell you, the thing I love is Sam's Club, or I don't know if y'all have Sam's Club, but Costco, right? Same idea. Yep. But with the Sam's Club app, I can walk in that place, and as we're putting stuff in the cart, I'm scanning it with the camera on my phone. My card's linked to it. I pay it. It gives me a QR code. I show the girl at the door, and I walk out with my stuff, and I never have to walk through a cashier line. I never have to see a cashier, and I can scan it as it goes into the cart. So once I'm done shopping, I'm ready to walk out the door. Now, they're supposed to scan it and then scan 2 or 3 items in your cart. But again, even with that, I see the potential for it. If you were not an honest individual, like, I could have put $300 worth of steaks in the middle of that cart and packed all the stuff around it. They're not looking through your cart or digging through there. And so I'm sure there are people that are walking out of those places with a lot more than what they're paying for. And so then the question becomes, like, how long until that feature that I really like is no longer possible?
Yeah.
You know, due to a theft or whatever. Now, then you've got, like, in the bigger cities, the Amazon markets and Whole Foods places, like the small markets, it like rings you up as you put the stuff in your cart using some kind of like it knows what you took off the shelf and all that, and it's tallying it up and you pay on the way out the door. And that is impressive, but I don't know how you make it accurate.
Right.
But I think that'll be the future, really, if they can figure out how to do that reliably.
Yeah. The only thing, so like we were talking about like the kids being on electronics, and we're talking about social media and us looking at screens and whatnot. They're making all this stuff where you can shop so easy and you can do the self-checkout. And the self-checkout, I guess, is better than, for where I'm going with this, than, I guess, all the online shopping. But you miss a lot of that human interaction just from getting out and talking to people. And even if it's not necessarily always good, but there's a good chance you're not outside, you're not getting the vitamin D, you're not, you know, moving around a little bit, getting a little bit of exercise just from walking. And, you know, we are social creatures, and you go too long with being secluded, it does kind of fuck with you. And
shit,
like
you're telling me.
Yeah, like well, I mean, I'm sure you work from home, but then, like, you know, especially during COVID, where so many people went work from home and you couldn't go anywhere, couldn't do anything. And so, you know, I use a lot of these services as well. When I went to Chicago, it was the first time I've ever used Instacart, and I've never DoorDashed or anything like that. but I've always like called a restaurant, had them deliver something if I'm doing that, or I'll use an app sometimes, but I typically will call them.
Ugh, psycho.
Yeah, but I don't know. I mean, sometimes it's nice just to have the connection. Like when I was in Chicago, I could order stuff from this pizza place up the road. I would order it and then walk over there and instead of door dashing it.
Yeah, now I'm all for like go in, pick it up or whatever. Even with delivery stuff, most of the time, like if like Domino's, right? They just opened a Domino's in our town. Like, I can have it delivered and they're actually reliable. The Marco's Pizza, we like their pizza and it's cheaper. Like I can feed my whole family and have leftovers and probably eat 2 lunches off of it for $55. Now that's great.
Oh, damn.
But if I order, you just got to watch their specials. But if I order it for delivery, it's 2 hours minimum. It says 40 minutes. That shit is not coming in 40 minutes. And twice I've gotten somebody else's food.
Wow.
And like, my kids are looking at it like, what is this pizza with like mushrooms and all this other stuff on it that we didn't order? And that's when I realized. So I always go pick theirs up. Anyway, I do like going in and picking this stuff up. I hate talking on the phone, dude. And I don't know if that just comes from years of being in tech support, but I
And
do
it
not want
could
to pick up
be.
the phone.
I mean, I really don't, but sometimes when like the websites or whatever you're trying to deal with is garbage, or like a lot of, like, I'm sure you have them as well, a lot of smaller businesses and, restaurants that you might want to order from, their websites might kind of suck to try to order through. Sometimes it's just easier because like we have one here, it's a like Italian restaurant, and I've ordered from their on their website and their whatever, and it's always a chore, and it takes me 3 times longer than just call them and say, hey, I want this, this, and this. And they're like, how do you want to pay? And then they'll be like, we'll be there in 45 minutes. And then they show up in like 20. So
Yeah. Yeah. And like, talking about like me working from home, I absolutely could function as a hermit. Like I'll play some video games, I'll hang out, talk to some people from home. I play D&D virtually. Like we do the whole, I don't have to leave my house. And then for my job,
right.
now I interact with people all day. I'm in video meetings. We have cameras on, just like you and I are talking now. But a lot of times, like at the end of the day, my wife, she works at the gym at the front desk. So she's in front of people all day long. And so she comes home and it'll be like, oh man, we forgot such and such. I need to run to town. And she's like, I'm not getting back out. And for me, it's like, I'll go. Because it lets me like go get out of the house, get some fresh air, maybe run into somebody in town that I know, because I've spent all day, even though I'm video talking to people, I'm pretty isolated. You know what I mean? So it's definitely, and like what's crazy is I won't think about the fact that I've not had any like direct human interaction until I get out somewhere like at the gym. And then I'm like, damn, yeah, I really haven't talked to people in a while.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know what he was doing. When he walked outside and back inside, I thought maybe he walked outside to fart and was coming back in. I guess he walked back out the shop and we lost him again.
Probably.
He'll probably be
I
back.
don't know if you can hear me,
Yeah,
but
one
I
of
had to
them
go
range
and turn
extenders.
my kerosene heater on.
Last Christmas.
You were talking about seeing a lot of those reels with Creed and stuff, and then there's a lot of Nickelback ones, and Nickelback is kind of coming back mainstream right now. And it's funny to me because like, I'm not going to say Nickelback's one of the best bands there's ever been, but I never had I liked Nickelback when I was in high school, and I, don't, and to prove that I was not like the only one, and he just says he liked Nickelback. Like our senior shirts had the lyrics to Photograph from Nickelback on the back. So
that's funny.
The whole senior class was like, this is a good song, and we want it on our senior shirts forever. My wife still has hers. It was like a tie-dye shirt and it had all the lyrics on the back. So, I mean, they weren't this universally hated band, 20-something years ago. And then they just fell out of grace because some people said that, Chad was kind of a douche. Like, I mean, most of the interviews I've seen, he seemed okay, but it is what it is. You become a rock star, maybe you do kind of get a big head for a period of time. But, like, anyway, seeing them more, but what I've been seeing, and maybe this is just because of me and my musical preference, but dude, there has been a lot of reels lately about Chester from Linkin Park. Like I knew the dude could sing, and I've always loved Linkin Park, but there's videos of him singing like Hello from Adele and like all these, and the dude was so insanely talented that, I mean, I've never had a celebrity like passing really affect me where I stopped and was like, holy shit, that's awful.
Yeah.
Like there were people that passed and, usually it was old age or whatever. But like with him, it was like, wow, things are never really going to be the same again. Cause like there's not going to be any new Linkin Park songs that are what I wanted,
Right. Right. Kind
Am I
of like
back
from
now?
Kitty,
Can you see
what
me?
I always wanted. Same era. But no, I understand. I mean, I agree with that completely. Like one that I can think of, that I mean, given it was an old age thing, but I remember when it happened was Johnny Cash.
Man. Yeah.
And like, I remember I was getting ready to go to school that morning. I think I was a freshman in high school, and that I'm like, wow, it sucks. And I was like, I was like, it just was like bumming me. And I mean, cause I've always been real big into music, and I'm just like, man, that's rough. And then I remember, I think it was John Ritter died the same day as well. And my girlfriend at the time, she was like, well, John Ritter died. I'm like, okay. I was like, yeah, that's not cool either. And she was like mad that I wasn't more upset about it. And I'm like, well, I mean, yeah, I don't have a problem with him, but I mean, I'm just not,
But music, man, it just, it does something to you, and depending on, where you're at in life and like my son, it's been cool because it's been about the last year that, at 9, 10 years old, all of a sudden it was, Dad, I love this song. Listen to that song, Dad. This is cool. And I would play something on my playlist and he'd go, I heard that song the other day. And
yeah,
a lot of it started from, I heard it on such and such's YouTube channel. Right. So they don't get to know the band or whatever. But then I think I told you the story. We were in the truck because he just started taking guitar lessons, and we were leaving, I think from a lesson or something, and Smooth Criminal come on my playlist, and
oh
but it
yeah,
was
I remember
Alien
that.
Ant Farm. And he was like, why does that say Alien Ant Farm? And I said, because it's the band that's singing this song. And he goes, but why are they singing a Michael Jackson song? And I was like,
yeah,
oh boy, But yeah, man, he's like getting into music now, and his guitar playing. He doesn't practice as much as I'd like because there's other stuff still competing for his attention, but he's getting better, and it's really
right.
cool to see like my kid getting into music.
Yeah,
My daughter's a phenomenal singer. She does amazing, and she did she opened for their like school Christmas play the other night, and but I mean, she's in, choir, she's in plays and stuff, musicals, things like that. She does all that stuff. And like her voice is just very natural and very, she's just really talented with it. And so
that's good.
watched her come up through that. She played my saxophone in
That's
middle
cool.
school, but then once she hit high school, she didn't want to do band. She wanted to do choir. And so we encouraged her to do that if that's what she wanted to do. But my son, he played around on my bass last night and was like, but the bass is just so cool. Like he's like, I like my guitar, but the bass is cool. So I was like, well, get some more experience with the guitar, and then a lot of that'll translate, and I'll let you play my bass some. And
boom, boom, boom.
that was not a bass guitar in that song.
Yeah,
He's playing that on guitar. It's just
right,
tuned down, but
yeah,
but I do know how to play that on the bass. That's the one you always pull out when people are like, oh, you play bass? Like, yep, I do that.
Yeah.
Feel Good from the Gorillaz,
yeah,
and Iron Man, and people are like, okay.
yeah. I mean, that's pretty much where you start on guitar too. Is like, Iron Man,
Smoke on the Water.
Smoke on the Water,
Free
Enter Sandman.
Free Falling's a good one. It's easy.
Yeah.
And my 10-year-old knows it now. I'll show you how easy that is.
Heck yeah.
Speaking of music,
Yeah, I learned. I know the intro for "Give Me 3 Steps." That's always a crowd pleaser.
Cool. Oh yeah.
James, how
But yeah,
far
I was
did you
definitely
make
the
it
one. I
with
never
Wham
committed
Again?
to it as a kid as much as I should have, and maybe that's why, like, when I see my kid not quite practicing enough, I'm like, dude, look, I see you doing exactly what I did, and you're going to be a 30-something-year-old frustrated that you're not better than you are.
Right.
So stick with it.
Yeah, and I did the same thing. I played for several years, and then I got to the point where I was letting others influence, I guess, my actions or whatever, more so by me giving up stuff to do other stuff for them or with them or whatever. And it's all stuff that I enjoyed, but, there was a lot of other things you have to sacrifice along the way. And then I think that's where you get into that situation that we talk about a lot, where we have all these different hobbies that you just can't keep up with anymore.
Did you let me back?
Yeah.
You're back.
Hey, sorry. My little thing said I had 99% the whole time.
Oh, yeah. Our little things will let us down every time too, won't they?
Yes, they will. Yes, they will.
They go from 99 to nothing real fast.
I apologize. I left the shop and come back down to the house, and I left the kerosene heater on up there, and If I'm in the shop, of course, it's not going to catch anything on fire. But as soon as I come down here, I'm like, yep, my shop's about to burn down right now.
Yeah, I get that 100%.
Yeah, we don't want to sacrifice the shop for the podcast on Don't Let Your Shop Burn Down.
I did want to ask you, because we're talking about music. James, how far have you made it on Whamageddon? Are you already out?
I'm still alive, baby. My wife made it 2 days. My daughter didn't make it very far. I made it through the entire Christmas parade. My son was in the Christmas parade with his music school, and so we were on their float, but the music teacher was in charge of the music for the float, and so we made it through the entire Christmas parade without hearing it. So I'm still alive, man. I've got less than a week left.
Awesome.
Yeah, a lot of that probably has to do with I canceled my Sirius XM, so I'm just doing Spotify Premium now. So I am in control of most of the playlists, and it's pretty much all like System of a Down, Blink-182. Like I'm reliving my glory days.
So I've been doing that lately too. I had it's probably targeting us. That's what it's doing. All the things listening.
Mm-hmm.
But it started giving me, it was like Dad Garage Music Playlist or something like that. And it's all like Sum 41 and like Godsmack and like Creed and Nickelback.
Dude,
and
I played that Fat Lip CD over and over again. That and Enema of the State, and I had Three Doors Down, Kryptonite. Those were my three. And then I had it was either Hypnotize or Mesmerize from System of a Down. Dude, my car radio just cycled through those, I think, for quite a while. And I think we've talked about, I bought the Saint Anger album, but I think I threw that one out the window.
Yeah, there was like maybe one or two songs that are tolerable.
I still have it. I found the CD like a few weeks ago going through some old stuff.
Yeah. I don't know, the Black Album was my favorite.
Was good.
Yeah, the title track wasn't bad, but then I specifically, like the day, I'd never bought a CD like the day it released. I drove over from my job on my lunch break and bought it, and I was so pumped up. And I worked at Circuit City, and with the whole wall of car stereos, the subwoofers, I'm like, I threw it in there and was like, what is this?
This is not what I signed up for.
Yeah. Yeah, well.
But Collective Soul. That was the other CD that I had. Like those guys. But yeah, so speaking of that though, and Spotify, and Mikey, you brought this up a little bit ago. We're going to stir a little controversy here for a minute, but I went back, I don't know if you guys, I don't know how much you use Spotify enough to get the little wrap thing at the end of the year, shows you how much like you've listened to all these different, who you listen to the most and all that stuff. And surprisingly, so the reason I started using Spotify a lot more was you never heard things like ACAL, Demon Jones, Upchurch. None of that stuff's on like XM radio, right? And so if I wanted to hear any of those guys' music, a lot of time I'm going over to Spotify. And, I would literally put it on Demon Jones radio and then let it play him and stuff like him or whatever and put it on shuffle. And so those three guys, Demon Jones, ACAL, Upchurch, I think, I'm sure Tom McDonald and some other folks were in there that got thrown into that rotation. But like those were my top listened to from last year, even though it was, not my main style of music like in high school or whatever. But Mikey, you were mentioning, I guess there's some kind of, I saw Demon Jones post. Yeah. So I saw their post that they were out recording somewhere, putting together an album, and there was a bunch like Jelly Roll, I think, was there, and a whole lot of people, Broadnax and
Diesel Gang.
Yeah. And I'm a big Demon Jones fan. I think he's, personally like him, I've met him. He's a great guy. He cares about his community. He puts on a concert every year and raises money for the local schools and stuff. He does that every single year, I think, except, maybe not 2020, right? But it's a big outdoor concert, and it's all because he knows kids from the county and all are going to come. It's a little more age appropriate than like, because when I went and saw him in ACAL and Brantley Gilbert a couple months ago. Obviously, that one I wouldn't have took my 10-year-old to.
Yeah.
But then again, he hears me listen to it in the truck, so it is what it is. But yeah, so I guess there's some controversy. I saw that Upchurch had posted a video. He's home with a new kid, right? So I don't know.
Yeah. I'm not an expert on the situation or nothing. I've just gotten into it in the last 4 days. Yeah. I've been seeing stuff, and I was like, oh, what's going on here? And The gist of it is Upchurch, I believe, feels like there's some conspiring against him. I don't know if it's, and I don't think like people are really like heavily focused on the like where they got to like where everybody got together and made like this music right now, and I don't think that's necessarily like. I think that was like the straw that broke the camel's back. Like a lot of what I've seen him talk about is like stuff way before.
Yeah, there was posts and stuff between him and ACAL months ago,
Yeah,
if not longer, that I remember seeing, and they were kind of
'cause
going back and
we
forth.
kind of quit messing with him after because apparently ACAL did a song with Tom McDonald, which I like both of them. Now, me personally, like one, I freaking love Tom McDonald. I don't know what the beef was with Tom McDonald, but I think that dude is one hell of a rapper. I love listening to his music. I love his
The
message
man
that
can
he's
make a
got with it.
T-shirt in less than 24 hours. Because when that song too, because when the assassination attempt happened, he had a song called "You Missed." I think within 48 hours.
Yeah.
Like it was like boom.
Yeah,
Then there were
I think it
T-shirts.
was like under 24 hours. It was out there.
Yeah,
It was
it was
ready to
quick.
rock and roll.
Yeah.
But if I didn't look into it, because I don't really give a shit about celebrities and their issues they have with one another. And even though they're all independent artists, like at the end of the day, they're still technically celebrities, however you want to cut it. And I don't really give a shit about what their issues are. But they had their issues, whatever it was. But from my understanding, his issue with ACAL was because he did this song with Tom McDonald, and he's got some sort of issue with Tom McDonald, I guess.
Well, and I seen Upchurch posted at some point something basically calling out Tom McDonald about how, if there's a tragedy, he's going to have a song about it and capitalize on it, right? And I'm like, but doesn't everybody, I mean, on social media nowadays, it's like, put the hashtag, whatever thing just happened to try to get a following on your account. Like everybody's, going to do it because everybody's out trying to make a buck. I mean, you have to this day and age. And so that was where I think I fell out with the whole thing, and I quit following it because I knew I liked all those guys. I like some of Church's music and all these other guys. And, I've not seen anything directly between Demon Jones and him because I've got a lot of respect for him, but, maybe they are, but I know he's done stuff with ACAL. And like you said, I think it was ACAL's association with Tom, and maybe him and Tom had issues or whatever. I don't know.
Yeah, I think they had some sort of,
but
and maybe it'd be, I can't remember the name of the song. Like, I think he's got multiple songs, Tom McDonald does, about like clout chasing and like, using a traumatic experience to like so maybe that's part of like, like, hey, you're being a hypocrite. I don't know. Again, I don't really care, but I think the way I'm seeing like what I'm gathering from the last couple of days is it sounded like Upchurch and ACAL had kind of I'm not gonna say squashed the beef per se, but they had moved past it. Like there wasn't like a constant animosity towards one another. Because at one of Upchurch's last shows, the way I understand it, he let ACAL and some other people come out on stage that were at the show to do the YZ remix. I don't know when that show was. I don't know a whole lot about it, but yeah, apparently there's like a big beef. And I did want to say that like I have some friends that are fans of Upchurch, and they they'll be like, oh, that dude's off his rocker, he's on drugs, he's crazy, this, that, and the third. And I'm like, yeah, he probably is. He's eccentric, which a lot of artists are. I was like, but you got to give credit where credit is due. The dude ends up being right a lot.
Yeah, I will say, I mean, again, not knowing all of the history behind it. Okay. Like, because I like some of his music, and I'm a big believer that you don't have to love the artist as a person to love their art.
Yeah,
period.
I love Marilyn Manson, but I love his music.
Yeah, dude, and that's a good example. I mean, you've got there's people that have been lifelong Harry Potter fans that are now like diehard against J.K. Rowling, the author, because of her views on, gender and things like that. Right. Like, yeah. And so now they're burning books and all this stuff. Like if you love the work of art, you don't have to agree with everything about the artist, but the things that I have seen from Upchurch and stuff is like, a lot of times it seems to come out of left field, and it's like, you're cool with somebody and then suddenly you're not. And I'll tell you, then you look at somebody like, Tom McDonald, who, whether it's just a show or not, but my belief, my understanding is like him and guys like Dax and all those, like they're big on sobriety and all that. Like they've gotten clean, and that's the way they live their life. Jelly Roll would be another example. And so when you have two people and one of them erratically suddenly is mad at the other one, and you've got one who's sober and one you're not sure about, and that you had that sudden swing, having been around that in my life and seen situations like that just personally with other people.
Yeah.
Drug use will cause you to do some absolutely insane things, suddenly start attacking people who genuinely would have helped you or have helped you in the past because you feel defensive or whatever. And so I don't know that that's the case with Upchurch because I've not looked into any of this, but I will say that would be some of the erratic stuff I've seen him post makes me go, where in the hell is that coming from? You know what I mean?
You did touch on two things there that he has been talking about, but he hasn't like gone like super in depth about it yet. Is that like, one, so that's one of the things that like, the conspiring like against him, like apparently a couple of people have made comments or allegations that like he's like on drugs, and the dude will be the first one to tell you like he smokes plenty of weed.
Yeah. I mean,
if you want to as somebody who is, the teeny weenies like to call it straight edge, I've never done anything, but I don't consider weed a fucking drug.
Yeah, right.
Personally, I consider cigarettes and chewing tobacco more of a drug than weed. But that's just my personal opinion.
Caffeine's just a socially acceptable drug, and Starbucks is nothing but a drug den.
Damn right.
I mean, it is what it is. Like, I get up and
sugar.
I get up and have my shot of caffeine. I get my legal drug every morning just to go deal with people and all right.
But he's brought that up, and then he's also brought up the fact that, because the way he says it, I guess somebody has made a comment in some way, shape, or form that he is like he has to be the king of like hip hop or something like that, or it's his way or the highway or something of that nature. But he's like, that's not true. He's like basically almost all the people that were in that group and the people that he's talking about, he's like, I've put y'all on. Like, I have like, I've pulled y'all up and like tried to like, because I want everybody to do good. But so if I wanted it to be all my way or the highway, I wouldn't have done that. I would have, I would have cut ties at the very beginning. You know what I mean? Like, why would I help you do it the way you want to do it, and then turn around and flip the script and go, all right, now it's my way or the highway?
I mean, I think,
but again, I don't know that much about it, so
yeah. And we probably don't have to spend a whole lot more time on it just because like neither of us, and I know Chris doesn't follow it a lot, but I mean, then you had folks like, Cole Ford and the Lax and all these other folks that have been around forever. And those were the first ones I ever heard of before I ever heard his name. The first thing I remember seeing from, Upchurch was, and the only reason I saw it was a video of him talking about how he got his dream truck. And he's like, y'all might think it's something fancy. And it was like an OBS Chevy. And I was like, my guy right there. Like, I love an OBS. So that's the first thing I remember seeing. But by then I'd been listening to Colt Ford and Lax for years. So
Georgia boys.
Yeah. I mean, yeah. And Chris likes to give me hell because I'm from Georgia. He's like, yeah, you want them Jogga boy. And Spotify says Jogga, by the way.
Oh my God.
They need to, somebody from the Georgia boys needs to be calling up Spotify like, you're getting my name wrong. Because when the little DJ thing says it, it says Jogga. Just funny.
So us kind of talking about this in some of the comments like Mikey you've made and James, where you're talking about maybe not necessarily liking the artist, but in, understanding the impact of the music or enjoying the music. Like me, I'm not a huge Rolling Stones fan or a Beatles fan, but I understand the significance.
Yeah, 100%.
And another one to where, and then like you were saying about letting them alone or whatever, that, keep their personal life and whatnot separate, whatever. Well, then that goes back to the whole, I remember I was like, fuck, I remember saying that shit years ago. And it was when the whole Michael Jackson stuff was going around. And I remember like as a kid growing up, we were listening to like Michael Jackson and whatever and all sorts of shit. And then like people were hammering on it, but he's kind of the same thing. he's a big staple in the music community, that, done a lot of things. And then, he does some fucked up shit and it's a big ordeal. And then now we're getting into the whole Diddy thing, which I don't really know a ton about that as well, but, I never really followed his music, but, there's always something that somebody's doing that's fucked up.
Yeah.
And the bad thing is, it's typically the people that really shouldn't be doing all this dumb shit because they're going to get caught. But,
Well, but how,
just because, you don't like the person doesn't mean their music or whatever's not good, or their art isn't good.
it might be a rabbit hole, but how much of it becomes, once you have money and some power and all of that, that a true nature or an ability to follow those what do they call them?
Other obsessions,
impulsive thoughts or intrusive thoughts. How much of that just becomes, well, I can now.
Yeah.
Without
And that could be a lot of
the
it.
consequence, right? Because human nature is shitty sometimes, right? But
Well, and where I thought you were going with that was, I was going to say, it's like, also how much of it is somebody's just trying to, clout chase or get some money or whatever. Because, I mean, like in Michael Jackson's case, was he ever actually, like, was it ever proven he actually did anything?
Really don't think so.
Yeah, because I think it was even just something recently because of the Diddy thing. I think that it was like Macaulay Culkin or somebody, because like I remember that being a thing. Like, oh, Macaulay Culkin used to go and spend the night at Michael Jackson's house and would sleep in his bed and da 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 da. And I think he just recently said something because of the Diddy stuff going on. He's like, like everybody likes to throw Michael Jackson under the bus. He never touched me. He never did anything to me. I don't think he was ever involved in any of those cases either. Like, I don't think his parents ever tried to do anything. But it was just, I think to his point was that we just, people were just trying to get money. And they were successful.
Yeah.
And, once the first person is successful, you're like, all right, I'm going to just send my kid over there and I'm going to pay my house off.
Yeah. Well, you kind of got some similar, somebody's been through a lot of trials this year too, last several years, but we don't need to get into all that either.
Who is it?
Someone that's been through a few trials that not a lot of people like, but a lot of people do. Kind of had a light discussion. Yeah. We don't go too far down that rabbit hole either.
Yeah.
But, I don't know, man. Like, it's like you said. I mean, there's always going to be the skeleton in somebody's closet that, somebody's going to have beef with. And to your point, Mikey, there are definitely people that are going to come out of the woodworks and look for opportunities to attack someone's character who's done better than them, simply because they feel like, that person doesn't deserve it or whatever, because I don't have it. I mean, there's really crappy human natures on either side of that, be it jealousy or be it somebody with some messed up impulses, right?
Yeah.
And it doesn't make either of those things right. There was something I seen a while back. Some woman had apparently accused was it lacrosse players or something? Like like several players on the team supposedly for having assaulted her, and then came out like years later and said it wasn't true.
Yeah. Yeah. There's been a bunch of those because during that Me Too movement, they were pushing for I don't remember how they worded it, but it was like, just believe, you should believe the woman without questioning it. Like, why would somebody lie about that? And it's like, well, there's been a lot of cases where people have lied about it. So that's why we don't just believe them for the sake of believing them.
Now so this was recent. So this lady, it was 18 years ago, had accused these guys from Duke, and, came out and said that it, came out recently and said that her testimony was false. I mean, that article was published 5 days ago that this happened. So, I mean, 18 years these guys have lived with. And so, like, even if you get
that stigma,
right, even if you get acquitted in court, right, like the court of public opinion, it's over. So, like, you don't you don't come back from that a lot of times. So like you said, I mean, it becomes not so much about the actual truth, but just the allegation. And some of them are true, right? Like, and then there's some guys that afterwards came out and admitted like, yeah, I did this, I was dumb and messed up or whatever, and willing to pay that penance or suffer some consequence. And, I guess that's better than nothing, but, ideally you wouldn't have done it to begin with. But,
right.
But then somebody sees the opportunity, to your point, to come in and just attack someone's character. And that's that point, it's over.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. And especially with social media these days, it's so easy for stuff to just spread.
Like, wow,
get blown out of proportion.
Yeah. Yep.
Now, on a happier note, do y'all have any specific goals for 2025? Okay.
Maybe
the
better than
coming. I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know if y'all been watching my episodes or not. Did y'all see the episode where we was talking about the UFOs and how they did that congressional hearing or whatever? And they were like, hey, aliens are real. We've got multiple species. We've got all kinds of shit. And all anybody wanted to talk about was Jake Paul and Mike Tyson. Like, nobody's like, oh, let's see these aliens y'all got. Like, let's see what you got.
Yeah.
Because at this point, our generation has lived through enough, like, world-ending events and shit. Like, we're just like, whatever. Big comet, all right.
Put me out of my misery, bud.
We're to the point now, it's like AI could turn into Skynet. I mean, how bad could it get?
Yeah. Maybe they'll make it better. My goal for 2025 is to post a video every weekend. Or I might move from the weekends. I might stop posting on Saturday. I want to do a little bit of research about like views and like when the best time is to post. But I think like a Monday or Tuesday is more better.
Yeah.
Than
use the
Saturday.
weekend for the recording and stuff like that. And then, and the biggest thing I can tell you, man, is, backlog a little bit of it, but then sit down with a calendar and plan it out. Like, I use Google Calendar, and I put reminders and things on there of, when things need to go out. And then like with your, Facebook or YouTube, whatever, like you can schedule it to post. So you could have 4 videos on deck and go ahead and schedule 4 weeks worth, and they'll go live at whatever time you set. And then
I think you were telling me about that before.
Yeah. And then just stay ahead of, so you're still going to be sitting down each week, scheduling out some more that you've recorded and edited. But if you've got 4 weeks out, and then in week 3, you schedule 3 more weeks worth, you're always sitting out ahead. So what you're scheduling stuff that's going to go live in a few weeks, and it'll keep you sane versus trying to do what we're doing right now. Like, we'll finish this today. I'll get up Saturday morning, edit it, and it will go live at 3:30 on Saturday, right? Like, that's not sustainable.
No.
And I pre-apologize if all of my disconnecting screws up your recording.
No, we'll probably leave it in there.
Well, we were talking through it, but I'll tell you the thing is,
because y'all's kept playing, and it would show me on the screen, but it wouldn't let me interact with you.
Oh, that's crazy. Yeah, you were like gone off hours, but like so Riverside, I'm in their Discord channel, and I'll plug them a little bit, because I had gotten to where I was taking the raw files again and throwing them into DaVinci Resolve and doing all my editing, because my workflow in there is better, because a lot of the keybinds that I can use, like I can, fast forward, back up. Like I never have to take my hands off the keyboard. I can cut a video up and do all the stuff I need to do. I've just gotten pretty proficient at it. And you can't do a lot of that on Riverside in the web app. But the developers are pretty active in that Discord, and they're posting stuff every week about new enhancements to the editing and stuff like that. And it's supposed to auto align the video. And so it should, in theory, take all of this that we recorded, and I can hit the AI and it'll like align everything to where it's supposed to be. Then I've just got to go through and cut out like the other stuff, and it'll automatically cut ums and ahs and all that stuff out, which I know I do plenty of, and just did it there. But it'll cut all that stuff out.
I definitely think that we've gotten much better with it, and that's definitely something that will come. There's been a few people that has talked to me about and asked me advice on doing it, and I'm like, just do it. And, we have people like, oh, how many followers? Like, I don't know. I mean, at this point, we're just kind of doing it for ourselves and our close community friends. And a lot of it is is us. We could plug ourselves a lot more. And that's, I think, what we're really lacking is figuring out all the algorithms and like the hashtags and the keywords and the right thumbnails and the consistent posting everywhere. But it's another full-time job. And, with us being, having multiple kids after you get over 2, like we discussed.
Multiple full-time jobs.
Yes. And yeah, it becomes a lot. And like, honestly, I was going to do a lot when I was in Chicago in the evenings, but honestly, for my new job, I was by myself for 2 weeks. Pretty much I came home from my classes every day and I just got naked and watched TV in the hotel room.
Well, I'm going to be honest with you. Like when we had the stomach bug, right? Like after that next day, I felt a little bit better, like enough that I could, get up and move around.
Yeah.
And I realized, like, I can't tell you the last time I had a day where I said, I'm not going to do anything productive today. And I think I did a couple loads of laundry, but I just sat around, like we picked a show on Netflix, just watch TV. And
Dude,
man,
that's the best.
I needed apparently a mental health, and apparently I need some more of them. And I fully intend, like, because we're so caught up on the Christmas stuff, right? Like the plan is to just, chill Christmas Day.
Yeah.
And, we get up and make breakfast and all that. And we do some low carb cinnamon rolls. And I look forward
how do you do low carb cinnamon?
Bro, it's easy because Walmart sells this stuff called Carb Quick, which is just a biscuit mix, just like Bisquick, but it's low carb, and you make them just like you would make cinnamon rolls. My wife's got like a recipe. I can send it to you. But yeah, if you go to Walmart, it's over where the Bisquick and stuff is, but it's in like a box. But it's called Carb Quick, and it's for folks that are diabetic, whatever, and can't have a lot of carbs but still want to make biscuits or you can use that stuff. It's great. We like it.
Hell yeah! No, I'm gonna look into that.
I don't eat fully. Yeah, I don't eat fully low carb anymore. Like on days that because I'm doing this new, I'm getting back to that 5x5 routine for a few months just to,
change it up,
put some strength on, and just, get my bench back to where it was and stuff. And so, and in a way, because I'm going on my lunch breaks, doing 5-rep sets makes it a little faster. Like I can move more weight in a shorter period of time doing that routine. I'm back on that for a little bit. And so on those days, I usually eat focus camera. I usually eat, some Uncle Ben's ready rice and a can of chicken,
Nice.
For lunch that day. I still do those kind of carbs earlier in the day. And then in the evening, my carbs will be green beans or Brussels sprouts or broccoli or something like that.
Yeah, so that's something I'm definitely trying to work on myself. And, with the whole job change, trying to work on my mental health. And then now I'm realizing, I'm like, I really haven't been super consistent in the gym for like a year and a half. And I can definitely tell that it was like right around that time is when I started having a lot more issues. And I've been trying to go to the gym with my physical therapist office, but I haven't been that great. I've been making like once or twice a week, but now we have all these extra activities going on. So I'm going to try to really focus on here in the next couple months.
Like
trying
making it
to
a priority.
Making that a priority and try to eat a little bit better. With the new job, it's helped. I'm not snacking like I was at the other job, and like, I guess, stress eating at work. And I'm around more people that are not necessarily more health conscious, but they are a little bit better about what they eat. And it definitely helps when you're, around, and a lot of it from where I was, it just, when you get to a point and you're working like you're that, you really don't care what you're taking in. You're just energy in, energy out.
You're surviving.
You're surviving. And so, and if you have other issues, dietary issues, whatever, and you're just doing that, it doesn't help. And so I'm glad to kind of get out of that. So, but I'm still have a long way to go as far as cutting out a lot of stuff. Like y'all seen, I've been sitting there snacking on this candy that we made for Christmas. I mean, but overall, I'm not eating like I was, but I would like to get back into some movement. I think that will definitely help with mental health as well. I know it will.
Yeah. And talking about mental health, man, I think we could probably go another hour just on that. But like this time of year, especially for dads, right? This time of year can be tough, right? You're you're trying to make sure your kids have a good Christmas, and and just make sure that everything kind of goes off without a hitch. And then do you take some time off? And like for me, it's always been like, I've been very fortunate the last 3-4 years. I've been able to take the whole week of Christmas off. I don't care about New Year's week, but I would either take the week leading up to Christmas or the week after leading up to New Year's, so that I'm just spending time with the kids, right? We're just hanging out and, doing Christmas stuff or whatever. And this year with the new job, like I didn't take that off. I'll just have Christmas Eve and Christmas Day. But, but with working from home, I'm still at least here with them. Right. So,
right. Oh yeah.
But yeah, it can be tough, man. And like, to your point about the gym, I've been making it a point every day. I got some of those push up, like the bars.
Yeah.
They go on the ground like the U-shaped one,
point?
so you can get real deep. Well, no, these are just they're just a bar. They came with one of those ab wheel kits or whatever.
Yeah.
I like the ab wheel like that. Screw a plank, but I'll do the ab wheel a bunch. But I've been trying to make it a point, like at least 50 to 100 push-ups a day, right? So I'll get down and do sets of 25, and I'll try to do 4 sets a day every day, and then also on top of going to the gym. But I have noticed I can be out of the gym for a week, and I look in the mirror, and that body dysmorphia, whatever they call it, I look like a whale. I'm just But then I can go back to the gym 2 days, and it hasn't changed my appearance any. But I guess just feeling the soreness in your muscles and all that, like it does something, and you're like, okay, I look better than I did, even though it's not been enough time to do anything. And it's all mental, and just it's huge just to get in there and stay in that routine.
Yeah, well, there's been days where, like, just like my gut, I feel, if I have bloat or whatever, and I don't know, just like I feel like crap, and I'm like, damn, dude, these shirts aren't fitting worth a shit. And then, like, the next day or a couple of days later, I might fast a little bit or whatever, and the bloat kind of goes away, and then I feel mentally much better, and I'm like, all right, shirts are fitting better. But then, like, I'll step on the scales, and it's like within a pound or a half a pound of where I was. It's just that bloat, and then it fucks with your mind. Not trying to sound like all ooh about it, but I mean, it's a thing. It's definitely a thing. Your mental health is, attached to a lot of aspects of your life.
I mean,
and it all goes back to the whole social media and screens and everything that we're doing and disassociating ourselves from reality.
Yep.
Man, we're going to get deep.
Yeah. Well, so the thing is, like, and I think like how your clothes fit, right? Like there's that, I see those ads all the time for those
some kind of t-shirts or whatever.
Yeah. Classic tee, classic something. And I'm like, and at first I look at it and I'm like, there's no way they've just designed a shirt so much better. But one thing I've noticed, maybe they have, right? I don't know. I've not gotten any of them. I know, Chris, you like the Duluth stuff as far as the pants and stuff go. I don't know if you tried the shirts, but I've heard there's
I've got a bunch of shirts.
But I
wear their polos every day now.
Like I bought this shirt at the it was the last marching band competition my daughter had, and I looked at the brand of shirt and I was like, oh, I usually like this shirt, so I'm going to buy one. And it's like very soft, but the way it fits is how I like a shirt to fit. Whereas I'll be at Walmart or somewhere and I'll be like, oh, that shirt's got Goku on it. That's cool. I'm going to buy that shirt, and I wear it and I like it and I wash it.
Yeah,
and it's like it gets a little too short, or it's like that was a $9 shirt that I wore one time and I'll never want to wear it again because it fits awful, and it makes a big difference. So I mean, if they can make a shirt that fits your body type the way it should, then I guess it can make a big difference.
Yeah. I mean, I've got a couple of Duluth t-shirts.
I'm gonna be a stay-at-home dad, so I got to do something.
Yeah, one of those the made skirts and stuff.
Or
man, Chris, could you imagine that?
Oh yeah, that'd be all right.
He's already been imagining it the minute I said it. But no, that's like, have you seen the meme? It's like, oh, if your wife made $300,000 a year and you could stay at home, would you do it? And then it's the guy in the kitchen with the little skirt on making breakfast, and I'll do whatever.
Hey, if she makes half that, I'll stay home at this point.
Facts. As the kids say nowadays.
But I'll tell you too, like I've been, from a mental health perspective, right? So obviously working from home, I got the new job, and that's helped because I'm in a much better environment, a much healthier company, just good company culture, and they're great. And I told a guy today, I was like, I know I'm in the right place, right? Because we were just talking, like, we had like our team meeting that like all of our teams are in there, and he made some reference to like D&D or something. I was like, yeah, I know I'm at the right company at this point. Like we're good. Okay. But like in the middle of the day, I'll take like a 15-minute break and I'll get a load of laundry started and stuff like that. And a couple days last week, I just took my whole lunch break. I did laundry and stuff around here so that when my wife gets home, we can actually spend time together. And like, there's something about the middle of my day being a little productive and being able to get a few things done. That's just, it's been really good this month, especially with everything going on.
Yeah.
I can only imagine.
Yeah. I'm ready for December to be over.
Yeah. I'm hoping 20 good.
Yeah. Well, I mean, for me, I changed a job and it was good, but I had a little bit of a time where I didn't get paid, and then, you know, I was all right, but then everything started breaking and everything started happening at once. And I'm just like, Jesus Christ. And then we got Christmas, and I'm ready for, you know, let's relax in the holidays there for a little bit, you know, not have to be everywhere, maybe a little bit of a break from sports and that such. So for the kids.
Which, have you worked on the Caprice at all yet?
I drained the coolant out of it.
Okay.
That's before you went to Chicago and gave them to Dave.
I was going to, but it was so fucking cold and windy.
Yeah, we had
the car's outside. Yeah, and the car is outside right now. So, and then I'm like, man, I don't like the idea of it being sitting there where I can't check on it every day, make sure nothing's gotten down in the engine while I'm gone for 2 weeks or whatever.
Blue rag.
So, yeah, but I don't know. I mean, I'm going to, I guess, look at the weather. I'm going to try to tear it apart maybe this weekend. I mean, because it's in the air, the coolant's drained out of it. I just got to pop the intake and pull one cylinder head, which it sucks. Yeah, and you know, those that don't know, I did not do the trunnion upgrade on the rocker arms when I did all the work last year, and it was just because I forgot to order the parts. And by the time I realized it, I was like, I'm already in a time crunch. I'm not going to have time to get everything together, whatever, and then, you know, shake down, drive it, and get it tuned, and you know, whatever. And I'll get to it later. And I went like about a year and a half, maybe not quite a year and a half on it, like 12,000 miles. And I come off the interstate, you know, a town over, and I just did like a first to third gear roller. I got on the road and I pulled into a shopping center, went inside and was checking out some shoes, come walking out and started the car, and it was like instantly pecking. And I'm like, fuck, here we go. I kind of like thought maybe, I'm like, no, it's, first I was like, maybe a lifter's, you know, dropping down. It's got LS7 lifters on it. And then I'm like, my very next one was the trunnion. I'm like, shit. But I'm like, the car's running great. It's just pecking. It wasn't missing. It wasn't acting stupid. And I went through the parking lot to like the middle of the parking lot, went into another store. And then at that point, my wheels were turning too much, and I came back out, and then I'm like, started it. I'm like, it sounds worse. So I made it to another side of the parking lot that was kind of in the open, and I just went ahead and got it towed home, just so if it was worse, I didn't really hurt the engine. But it ended up being, I think it's the intake valve on like number 2 cylinder, the side of the little trunnion bearing or whatever, that this whole side blew out, the bearings come out of it.
Why it looked like the cap was still on though, and it like just turned.
Yeah, I mean, it's like part of it's like kind of like pushed out.
Like, okay. In the
like
picture,
folded
it
out.
just looked like almost like it had just rotated, which there's no way for that to have happened, I guess.
Yeah.
I guess if it broke, the hole looked different. Yeah.
But see, there for a few weeks, I just had a new windshield put in the car, and I put the stock mufflers on it, so the car was quieter. And it's never had a lot of valve train noise, but now it's a lot quieter, and I'm like, huh. And I was driving it, and I'm like, I'm hearing, like, I'm driving on the road, I'm doing this, listen, up towards the dash, and I'm like, I'm hearing, like, more like sewing machine. I'm like, no, that's staying next to the car, and I'm like, it's just because it's quieter. I'm like, it's not really louder. There wasn't any noticeable huge difference, but there was something there. I knew something was there. And once it finally, I guess, really came apart and I figured out what it was, it must have been tapping there for probably several weeks or even a few days, because the top of that valve is, looks like hammered shit. and I'm lucky that it didn't, drop the valve. So I'm going to go ahead and, just tear it apart and get the valve replaced. So I have to get a valve job. So, and then a new retainer and keeper and all that. So,
Any
and
potential
then
to do any performance upgrades in the process?
probably not. I mean, honestly,
I know you use that kind of like a daily, and you've talked
Yeah, I
about
was
that
gonna say it's
before.
really your daily.
yeah, I mean, honestly, and it's bad because I kept telling myself, I'm like, man, I was like, I love this car. I was like, it runs and drives great. It sounds great. And I'm like, it drives probably 95% like stock. It really needs a better torque converter, and it needs a brake upgrade bad. But
Time
that
for
will
some
come.
TBM brakes, Kevin.
I'm probably just going to do a 5th gen Camaro Brembos because they're a direct bolt on.
Yeah.
And you can do it for like $500 or $600. And that's kind of more my budget on it. But really, brake upgrade and just kind of fix what's wrong with the engine, do the trunnion upgrade. Look at doing the intake where they call it port and rod. But honestly, at the power level I'm at, it really wouldn't be a huge gain. And I don't ever see myself spraying the car, but I mean, it kind of, could cause issues if you spray it. But you go through, they take this part of the structure through the middle of the intake, so it frees up to where there's less turbulence. You do a little bit of porting, and then they run these metal rods down through it, and you basically like epoxy them in place, and it smooths the transition into the runners. And there's been some people that had issues where the rod like comes loose and like drops down. So you have to make sure shit's in there correctly. And so I don't really know if it's really something that I want to deal with right now, if it's really a benefit to me. I just kind of want to fix it and drive it. I'm kind of leaning towards maybe selling my Camaro 20s off of it and getting something different. But other than just fixing it, I'm pretty happy with how it runs and drives. I don't have the money for a Circle D torque converter or anything. So that would be the really good, either a good torque converter or do like a built trans and a converter. But I don't have the money for that right now. It works, so I'm not going to mess with
Getting
it.
the job done.
Exactly. But no, I mean, I'm going to look at, for my Suburban, I'm going to change the exhaust on it this year because next year, I can't deal with the Drone anymore. So I'm looking at doing a Black Widow Venom 300 that's a dual in, center out, and then drop down to a 3-inch tailpipe versus the 4-inch. Because I think between that MagnaFlow, it's such a deep tone, and then it's got that 4-inch tailpipe. It's a full 4-inch tailpipe, not just a tip. And so it's kind of acting like a megaphone a little bit and giving a lot of drone. So I wanted those Venom mufflers, the Black Widow or whatever, they're supposed to have, be really good about canceling a lot of drone. So I'm like, screw it. I can probably sell this muffler and tailpipe for what I can buy one of those for, and it'll just kind of be a wash. But
that's I'm gonna have to find a Suburban or Yukon XL.
Yep. Yeah, they made a lot of them, so they're out there.
Yeah,
Most
boy,
definitely.
people are proud of them too, Miller.
Yeah.
Or these days, they're proud of anything.
Everything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Be a Toyota Cressida. They're like $6,000. I know what I got.
They woo.
Old Geo Prism, 3,500.
Yeah.
Do y'all remember the Toyota Paseo?
Mm-hmm. I worked with a girl that drove one.
There's a dude, well, I don't know if he still has it, but there's a dude up here in Harrisonburg. His old lady works at the O'Reilly's over on Route 11. And I was at the gas station near White Wave, which, just for anybody that might get confused, that's a milk plant. Okay.
Yeah.
And I don't even think it's called White Wave anymore. It's like,
No, it's called
Dannon
something
or
else.
something.
Yeah, it's White Wave.
Like the yogurt
But it
people?
came through there, and it was like trashy trailer park. I didn't buy a Honda Civic, but I bought this Honda Paseo or Toyota Paseo kind of vibe when it came through. But it actually sounded not bad. Well, I ended up taking my oil down to the O'Reilly's and seeing it sitting outside, and I was like, "Hey, is that yours?" And he's like, "Yeah." And I was like, "Didn't sound half bad when you went by earlier." Got to talk to the guy, 5-speed, passes inspection, gets like 40 miles to the gallon for sale. He wanted $800 for it.
Wow.
I was like, I mean, it, you know, it's got like a flat black spray can paint job on it and stuff. But I mean, dude, for $800, 5-speed,
Mm-hmm.
dude,
Yeah.
if that deal would have been around when I was in high school, I'd have been at seventh heaven, because that would have been like the next Dukes of Hazzard. You know what I mean? Like, it had the rebel flag on top, 01 on the doors, and we'd have been launching that thing off of everything.
Yeah.
You ever hit the jump that's back behind Fort Defiance?
All
That
the
cuts over to
time.
the dump road?
Yes.
God, that's a good one.
It
That's
is.
a good one. Me and Mitch Smith almost died on that twice.
God.
Almost hit a school bus head on one time. Not
Really?
proud of that one. But we landed, you know, there's like that little 1-lane bridge right there.
Yep.
Like if you hit it going towards Fort. Yeah, we landed like, I mean, I'm talking feet.
Almost at that.
I'm
Wow.
talking feet from that 1-lane bridge. And the bus was on the other side. So we was
Lord.
moving.
Yeah.
And a
So
Volkswagen
I used
Jetta.
I used to take that route a lot to school because I would always still do it. I'd wait to the last minute and then I'd leave, and I couldn't take 11 because it would be hammered with buses and cars and shit. So I would go down and, go down Limestone Road and go that way. And I would just balls to the wall to the speed limit down that road.
Oh, yeah, only the speed limit. That's
And,
around all the hairpins back there.
Yeah. And so I don't know if you remember, for a short time, it was a black 96 Honda Civic coupe.
Yeah.
And I beat the absolute shit out of that car. And it is very true what they say. It's a lot of fun driving a slow car fast.
Yep.
And like, I beat the ever living shit out of that car. It was a DX. It had the hubcaps. It had the little fake, like little cheap plastic mud flaps on it and crank windows. And I mean, but I would yeet it down that road so much. Like the bottom of the mud flaps had about an inch ground off of them from scraping the ground. And I was like, first I saw it, like, what is this? And I realized it was like shaving the bottom off of them. And I mean, that car, Jesus Christ. But yeah, I would jump that thing. And then Mom had a Jetta I used to jump that thing with. Sorry, Mom.
Like this is the second time you've told that story on this show.
Well, yeah, I've done a lot of stuff to that poor Jetta. We used to snow drift it. But, yeah, I mean, we jumped all kinds of stuff. I've never, jumped my Trans Am because I knew it would be, bad hitting it.
Yeah.
I want to say I hit it before with a little bit of speed when it was stopped. And I'm pretty sure the K-member hit the ground. So I don't think I did it like that anymore. But I know my square body, I'm pretty sure I jumped it or almost jumped it. My Dakota, I jumped it. I've done it with my Suburban, but it's not fun because it's 3/4 ton, so it's like cinder blocks for springs.
8,000 pounds through the air. That's
no,
very quick.
No, I remember me and Kevin Wood test drove like a Nissan hardbody or a Toyota pickup. It was something there from the early 90s, maybe late 90s, and it was at the little car lot that's in Verona next to the sheriff's department.
Yep.
But it was something else when we were in high school. And no, it wasn't a truck. It was a little car. It might have been like an old Corolla or something, but it was a 5-speed. And we took it out on this back road and was just driving it very nicely. And just the clutch started slipping like a bitch. I'm like, well, took it back. Hey, dude, this clutch is slipping. Which I will say, it was slipping before we even got there, but we didn't help it at all.
James, y'all got any roads like that down where you're at? I like to call it Dukes of Hazzard and get one out there and just, letting her eat, as it were.
We got a few spots with some railroad tracks that if you're not careful, they'll beat the hell out of you. But
yeah,
we had one that Dad always used to take us down. They called it Roller Coaster Road just because the way the hills would come up, and they would, so if you went over the hill fast, it's like it took your stomach like you were on a roller coaster.
Yeah.
We used to go down that one pretty good bit, but yeah. Not as many hills here as you've got hills, but it's a lot more gradual stuff than.
I'm talking just gravel. There's a gravel road that goes off that road before that jump. And dude, you thought I was in that IRC sometimes when I come through there. My little the beach and just fucking Boop, 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 boop.
Oh,
And
yeah,
at one
plenty of
point, we're
those.
driving next to the river. So, I mean, and I can't tell you how many times I've come around that long sweeper. Like, I'm no
Yep.
Chris knows what I'm talking about. Like, towards the end of that road where you come out behind KOA, I can't tell you how many times I come around that thing and I'm like, if I go off the edge, because the one side you got like an embankment that's 30 feet tall, so you're not going anywhere, and the other side you got the river, and it's fairly deep
Yeah.
right there, and I'm like,
And it's like one place the road runs right into the river,
yep,
and then the rest of it's only like a foot or two above the water.
yeah. So I'm like, I don't want to wreck, but if I do wreck, I'll survive.
Yeah. Yeah. The way I feel it is, it'll probably be like the ghosts that are in that old car that's underneath the water will come out there and help pull you out because they don't want the
Yeah.
same thing to happen to them.
Yeah, but yeah,
Jamie,
no,
pay no attention.
we're getting, I feel we're getting
Sorry, my
less
wife
and
is
less
sending
of
me
those roads.
dogs, and I'm having to be like,
Yeah.
she's like, we should go get this one. I said, you said that about 4 different dogs today alone.
We can't go get all of them.
No, we wish.
Dang it.
No, the other one that I think about that we hit more now, it's a little easier on the vehicle, but you got to hit a lot more speed, is the one at the top of 612 heading towards Cremora. Like you go out past through New Hope and you keep going down 612 and like you pass Pine Bluff Pool and then the
And then
road gets a
turn
little,
left.
the road kind of veers to the left and it's like off like open fields on either side. And it just kind of goes up the hill, and then at the very top of it, it just kind of goes right back down.
Yep.
You got to hit it about 80, 85.
You got to hit that one
And
hard.
yeah,
I've
you got to hit that one
I've
hard.
jumped that on a motorcycle before.
Really?
Yeah,
That's
and it's
awesome.
sketchy as it sounds.
Yeah. Yeah. So, like, I've done it in my Suburban.
Because it's
And it's like
blind.
when it-
If anybody stopped, including the fucking tractor, because you're right, there are
You're
massive fields right there, so it's totally possible for somebody to be sitting there in a combine or something. You hit that thing, especially on a motorcycle, there you probably are not going to stop
No.
before you hit whatever stopped in the road. But luckily with those fields there, I mean, I'd
Yeah.
ditch it in one of those fields. I'd take my chances.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I mean, it's a little sketchy in the Suburban because with the suspension on it. I've done it, and then it's like everything goes and unloads. And I'm like, Jesus. But, I mean, the kids are like, oh, yeah, that's fun, ain't it?
There's one out there near Nightly Mill that's really good too.
Man,
It's not
they've got
on
that.
Nightly Mill, but it's out that
Right.
way.
Oh, that road will run the part of Notley Mill, whatever that runs along next to the interstate. That's a good place to do burnouts.
Yeah.
It's a long straight stretch. It's like where the tars come up to the top, real slick.
Yeah,
Oh,
down
yeah.
there on Indian Mound in the bottom there, where you can turn around. That's a good spot too. I think I've seen a white Caprice and a white Turnbird down there once or twice.
I don't know, maybe. I mean, there might be like a couple 100-yard, long black marks down that road
Yeah,
because the Caprice will go through. Like I've had to go through 6th gear.
really.
Screwing around. Yeah, it'll just be like bam, 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 bam. I'm like, oh shit. Once you get the wheel speed up, it'll just carry it. So that's probably why, my shit like my trunnions come apart.
You know,
And I
speaking
can't
of
imagine.
that,
Yeah.
speaking of that,
Which, I mean, to me, I still feel I know it's a big thing you have to do, whatever, but I guess I'm still kind of was stuck in the old way where my Trans Am, it's been together forever, but it doesn't have an as aggressive camshaft in it. So that's the different, deal. It's not a super stiff spring. It's not a really huge cam. So that's a big part of it. But I mean, it's got all stock shit, stock push rods. It's just got a GM spring and a GM, after like a shelf cam. But go ahead, Mikey.
so one night I went down that road and I had gotten a DR350 running, and I went down there, and when I was going down my street back there behind Dino's, and as I was going down the road, I went, shit, I forgot my phone. And then I went, shit, I forgot
I know which
my
one you're talking
flashlight,
about
too.
now.
Huh?
Is it on it's not Spring Hill, it's Damtown. Is it on Damtown
The
Road?
jump?
Yeah.
It might be Damtown.
Yeah. But
That
it's
might be
like at a
considered
really
Damtown.
I don't know. But I know what you're talking about now. Go ahead.
Yeah, but so I left the house and I'm like, I'm gonna test ride this bike because I just got it running. And I get to the bottom of the hill and I'm like, I ain't got my phone and I ain't got my flashlight. And I was like, fuck. And it's summertime. And I went, whatever, it'll be all right. So I take off down through the neighborhood. Bike's running great. No headlight, no tail light, no helmet, no nothing. No title. And I'm like, hey, you know what? Seems like a good idea. It's nighttime in the middle of summer. I'm feeling it. I'm going to go on down Indian Mountain Road and ring this thing out real quick.
Yeah.
So I go down Indian Mountain Road and I'm ringing it out. I'm cruising and then, I go down that long straightaway and I'm like, all right, I should probably turn around and head back. I'm pushing my luck. I get right there to that fucking bridge down there where right before you go like through the turnaround, the bike starts shutting off. I'm like, ain't no way. I know I had enough gas in here. So I'm like messing with the petcock, trying to like put it on reserve. I'm like doing all this stuff. Bike ends up shutting off. So I pushed it back up past the bridge and then pushed it. You know where the gravel road is where Mr. Meeks lives?
Yeah.
I went back, I pushed it around the corner up on that road just a little bit and then pushed it up on the embankment on the right-hand side of the road. And then I proceeded to walk from there all the way back to my old neighborhood behind Dino's. And I get my wife to, this is back before we had kids and everything. So we got in the square body and I grab my flashlight and we go back. And dude, I had noticed something shiny on the road when I like pushed the bike up in there. I just thought it was like oil or something. We get down there and it looked like something had been massacred right there in the road. It was all blood. And so that whole like section right there, like, like where you turn up that gravel road, it was all blood everywhere.
Wow.
And then whatever had been killed, guess which direction it had been drugged?
Probably
to
near
the
where
right
you
side
were.
of the road,
Yeah.
like through the fence. And I was like, and Becca goes, what happened? Did you hit something? And I was like, no, the bike broke down. And she's like, well, what is that? I was like, I have no idea. I don't know. But I'm really glad that I came all the way down here with nothing and walked all the way back and didn't get mauled by whatever did that.
Yeah.
And, I had rolled the bike like right in front of the spot in the fence where whatever got drugged through there. And
wow, that's crazy.
Yeah. So just one of the many fun stories of Augusta County at nighttime.
Yeah. Yeah. That's a little sketchy spot too. It's all swampy. So, I mean, and it's got a lot of...
It could have been like a swamp moose in there. You never know.
Yeah. Swamp moose, maybe an old...
I feel like that's somebody's nickname.
Man, so I can't talk about it on here, but we used to call people swamp mooses we were at the bar. So, anyways,
that story for offline. But fellas,
yes,
my wife's got to be up at 5:30. And me shortly after. So we'll call it here. But we'll have to do this again. Obviously, we're going to be doing some more recording. Just a reminder, like I said, we're take a little bit of a hiatus through, at least partway through January before releasing anything as far as full episodes. We'll still have some stuff coming out. We'll still be active in the group, so check it out. Ask questions. Tell us what you want to hear in 2025, and we'll keep it moving forward. Of course, for me at least, this episode is in memory of my girl Belle. So I'm going to post pictures of her. I'm sure she's
cool.
But yeah, we're going to wrap it up here. You guys got any last words for the interwebs?
Nope, I'm good.
I appreciate you guys letting me come back and hang out with y'all again.
Yep. And if you guys want to see some content between now when we're releasing episodes, make sure you check out Mikey's Fab Shop. He's better about posting shorts than even we are. He's got some ends with local motorcycle shops and stuff. So he's posting all kind of cool stuff. So make sure you're checking that out too. And yeah, I'm sure he'll tide you over. And then Chris last night, I don't know when the episode will come out, was on the Untitled Car Project podcast, which I've been on a couple times. Those guys are phenomenal and they're great about releasing episodes every week. So go check them out as well.
Yeah, I want to say they said maybe after Christmas. I don't remember. Like I said, it was like 11:30 when I got off the phone with them.
Yeah.
So, or 11 o'clock. So.
Which they're West Coast, so they're 3 hours behind. So it would have been like
Yeah.
8 or 9.
But yeah, it was a good time. Yeah, I mean, I definitely would like to do it again sometime.
Yeah, they're awesome.
Yeah.
All right. Well, guys, we'll wrap it up there. And it was great talking with you all. We got another kind of some of the interruptions, a little close to 2 hours in the books this time. So,
Yeah.
heck yeah, guys.
Cool deal.
Appreciate it.
Alrighty.
All right. Talk to you in 2025.
Right.
Later.
Yeah.